All right, that's close enough. All right, guys. Good evening. Steve Clayton here. And I wish I had my best James Earl Jones like soundboard or something so I could have him say, "It begins," but I can't do it. So anyway, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us. I think the first thing that we have to do is just say a really, really big thanks to everybody. I love this slide. I've used it a few times just because, well, for obvious reasons probably. I think certainly I think I speak for Aiden when I say that thanks is really, doesn't even cover it. We know that, everybody's in different situations and different parts of their lives and all that kind of stuff, but everybody has put their trust into us and has invested and has decided to, risk their time and energy and come into this journey with us. And it means a great deal to us, and I think I just didn't want to just say thanks. I wanted to try and at least give you some idea, from the heart about how big of a deal it is for us and how seriously we take it, because we think it's a pretty big responsibility on our part. So we're going to do the best that we can to live up to that. Okay.
Yeah. So I just want to reinforce that for 2 seconds as well, guys. We really mean it. That the thing that we get most inspired about in this whole business is the messages that we get from the people whose lives end up getting changed because of the training. Steve, on some of the webinars that we were doing, during the week and stuff, you mentioned one story about one guy that we met at one of our Blueprint Academy events in Las Vegas, and This is a guy that went through one of our programs, and turns out he got to a point where he's doing $700,000 a year. And when you get that kind of, you hear those kind of stories, that's a lot of money. But even the smaller ones from people that say, I made my first money online, that kind of thing. It really is those heartwarming stories that give us the most motivation to keep pushing forward here. Anyway, with that said, thank you so much once again. We'll just dive into it. Take it away, Steve.
Yeah, all good. Okay, so let's talk about
one real little thing. Sorry to jump in here.
Yeah,
if you have any issues with hearing us or lag of the page, you can always refresh the browser. Okay, and that'll just allow you to reload the window. So you've got that option as well.
Yep, there we go. All right, guys. So let's go over what we're going to go through this evening. First of all, we're going to just do some housekeeping. We're going to talk a little bit about the survey that you guys took, and then I'm going to give you all of the training sessions, the dates, and the times, okay? So we'll go through all that, and that's something that when we get to that, and I think that's only like 2 or 3 slides away, you might want to have your phone ready, because maybe you just want to take a quick photo of that so that you have it, because you don't want to sit here and, have to write it down. Obviously, you're going to get copies of this presentation. You're going to get summary of it. You're going to get a replay. But just to start to get your calendar ready, you might want to have your phone ready, okay? We're going to talk about bonus delivery because we got some important information there that we need to go through with you guys. I want to give you a little bit of an overview about our software and our training, and I want to set expectations, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I definitely want to explain my feelings on that and, get your input and all that kind of good stuff about how we're going to do the training and how it works and things we might run into and stuff like that, okay? So we'll talk about that. We will discuss the great PayPal debacle of 16, as we are now and forever going to call it. So we'll talk about that. We will talk about support, and I'm going to introduce several folks who are just phenomenal coaches and people that are going to be probably a big part of your life, I'm guessing, for the next few weeks, few months maybe. And these are folks that have all been through the program. They're all guinea pigs. And anyway, we'll talk about them. We've got 2 really, really big surprises. So I'm very excited about that. So we're going to share that with you. And we've got some contests to talk to you guys about, and that's always fun. We're going to go through the training structure. So I try desperately every call to follow a similar format, okay, and a structured format. I'm a structure guy, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a logic guy, so that's a big deal for me, okay? So I'll go through it's very straightforward and simple, but I like to do the same things. So we'll talk about that very briefly. We will get into the action items for tonight. So between now and our next get-together, we're going to have action items. And, I didn't put a slide in here about pace and going at your own pace versus our pace. And I should have. And now's probably a good time to talk about it as any. So let's just briefly touch on it. We are obviously going to bring everybody along at a certain pace, okay? And it's the pace that we think is, kind of appropriate for the average person to achieve the goals that we set out, in the first 60 days. But that does not mean that you have to go at that pace. You can't go faster, okay, and we'll talk about that. But you can go slower, all right? And you should always feel comfortable doing that. And you shouldn't feel like there's anything wrong with that. Not even close, because everybody is different, and everybody you might slow down in section 2 or something, and then you're a speed demon in section 8, and 3 other people slow down in section 8, because heck, everybody has strengths and weaknesses, so there's no shame in that, and we're set up so with so much help and expert help that no matter where you are in the process, we will help you. It's not so don't worry about that, okay? So anyway, I don't want to put any pressure on you. I think you should absolutely strive to set goals and do these action items, but you need to set the pace that's right for you. Also, not everybody has the same amount of time to invest in this, and that's okay as well. Okay, so tonight's training, we're going to focus on picking products, selecting audiences, and building ads. So unsurprisingly, we're going to talk a lot more about that. We have the first contest. The first contest is going on immediately, and so that'll be kind of fun. So we'll get to that, and then we're going to review our action items just at the end to just make sure that everybody knows exactly what we need to be doing between now and the next event, okay, or the next training session. So here was the survey results. All right. So survey results showed that it was a pretty even distribution, frankly. But the 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Time was the winner by, not that much, maybe like by, 27%, and then everything else was fairly even, okay? So what we're going to do is, obviously, we're going to rotate through these times, but we're going to do the 8 to 10 p.m. slot twice in a row, okay? So you'll see that when we get to the dates and times in a minute, all right? So this is how we determined what times we were going to run the webinars, except for the first 2 because of some travel issues and stuff like that. So here is the screen. Here is our schedule right now, okay? It's April 15th. We're doing 7 p.m. on Friday. We have to switch to Monday, 7 p.m. next time, because Aiden and I are actually leaving for China, and we're going to be in Hong Kong and then in our office in, I always mispronounce it, but Guangzhou. And just because of some ridiculous logistics and scheduling, it'll actually be Tuesday morning for us, and that was the only time that we could make all this happen, and we wanted to make sure that we, obviously didn't hold anybody up. So the next one will be April 25th, and all of these times, by the way, are Eastern time, okay, New York time, all right? And so then when we get to April 25th, as I said, we're switching to Mondays, and then we're going to stay on Mondays, with the exception of May 31st.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Just to jump in here, when we're talking about these times, unless we state otherwise, we are always talking about Eastern time. So Eastern time is New York time, okay?
Yep.
If you look online, you'll find different ways to convert time to your time zone. But we're always talking Eastern time. That's New York time.
Yep, absolutely. Should have put that on the slide, guys. So apologize for that. And yes, somebody was asking, do we have an office in China? Yes, we have an office in Guangzhou. So except for May 31st, that week, we're going to be moving it to Tuesday because of a big U.S. holiday on Memorial Day. And the week after June 27th, the week of July 4th in the United States, we're going to take that's a big holiday in the U.S. We're going to take a break. We're all going to need it by then anyway. But you can see one of our milestones here. We will complete phase 1 on June 6th. And phase 2 will begin on June 20th, because we'll do like a Q&A kind of wrap-up call in between on the 13th. And phase 3 will begin on July 11th. Okay? And all this stuff is going to be available in the members area. Okay? All these slides, so you don't have to write all this down. It might be a good idea to take a quick snapshot of this so you can start getting your calendar in order. But this will definitely be in the summary guide that Chris publishes. I'm quite certain of that. Okay. Now, listen, just keep in mind, and this kind of goes along with, how we work and setting expectations. We absolutely reserve the right to change the schedule, though, okay? The contents, the dates, the times, just you never know what's going to happen. And honestly, sometimes we add sessions. Sometimes we change the topics of them and all that kind of stuff because, adjusting to you is part of what we do. We get feedback. Yeah, this went well, this didn't go well, we need more information about this, and then we change things. So, just be prepared, okay? So that can happen, but we will let you know absolutely as soon as we know. And the only reason we're going to do it is to be more helpful, okay? So just keep that in mind. The other thing is that, we didn't set all these up yet in ReadyTalk, as far as to register. The only one that's available to register is for the next one, okay, after this one. And it's because we weren't quite sure that we were definitely moving forward with ReadyTalk. So we'll evaluate that after this. And then as long as we are, then we will set up all the rest of them, okay? All right. Okay, bonus delivery. Here is my desperate request to you guys. Many of you qualified for different bonuses, okay? And there is a Herculean manual effort underway to make sure that every single person is taken care of properly, all right? And I can assure you, if there's been a mistake, if after this time period that you'll allow us to get everything sorted, you feel like you haven't gotten what you were supposed to get, we will fix it. We will sort it. But what I desperately ask you to do is to give us 1 week to just get all of this sorted out. And what I would expect after 1 week is for you to be able to go into your personal bonus tab, okay, and to be able to see either that the bonuses that you are entitled to were delivered, or there will be a placeholder there that says coming soon, you're entitled to it, okay? So I would desperately ask you not to email support and ask for your bonuses until you give us this week, until after April 22nd, okay? Because we would rather make sure that support can spend all of their time answering questions about finding products, finding initial audiences, and creating ads, the things that we're going to talk about tonight. Okay.
And just one other thing, if you've got third-party bonuses, like if someone else promised you a bonus, then you have to talk to them about that. Okay. If it was, someone who you heard about this program through and they promised you a bonus, then just contact them about it. They're the only ones that can give you those bonuses.
Yep, exactly. And there's a lot of questions about, well, how do I know? Is this the split payment plan versus the no? I just want everybody to understand that, the split payment plan is not getting any different material or special or not, treated differently. So don't worry about that. But these bonuses were the ones that we're talking about were the ones that you may have heard Aiden talk about on webinars. So, if you were on those webinars and we said that you were entitled to those bonuses, that's what we're talking about. Okay. Now,
the bottom line is, you'll find them, just to round out this bonus thing. The bottom line is, guys, you will find the bonuses in your members area once we've finished doing the manual upgrades. So just forget about them for now and just worry about the main content of the program.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the refinery has its own tab, okay, and announcements will be coming soon regarding the dates. So that's another thing. Please don't ask about when that's, because I promise you we'll let you know. We will be all over it, okay? That's something that that's something that we're working on right now. So stand by for that, right? Okay. Here's something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is, and I'll explain why I'm talking about this in a second, and hopefully it'll make sense to you. When you create new software, okay, you spend some time, you work on a product, you sort of test it yourself, the programmers might test it or whatever, and then you get a small group of people to kind of put it through its paces, maybe, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it is. And that's good because that finds some problems, right? And then you usually give it to a much, much larger audience, what we call beta testing, right? I'm sure you've heard the term. So you give it to a much, much larger audience, not the whole public. You don't put it for sale, but you give it to a much larger audience. And that's when you find all the problems, because then all of a sudden you got different people using it on different computers in different countries and different, equipment and connections. And you find all the stuff that breaks, all right? We don't have this luxury at all, as you can imagine, because we've never launched this product before, this program before, and you wouldn't want us to do that anyway, right? Because we had an alpha test with our guinea pigs, but we were never able to do a beta test because we can't offer it to 100 people because it's proprietary stuff that you guys are investing in here. So we can't do that. So here's what I guarantee you: we're gonna have issues. It doesn't mean that we aren't prepared, or that we didn't do our job, or that we're not all over it. It's just we couldn't do the things the way that you normally do them in order to completely avoid all problems, if you can ever do that. So I want you to make sure that you understand that analogy, that that's what we would do if we could, but we can't. And we'll talk about that a little bit with the PayPal debacle because it's the same sort of thing, because it's the same with training. We're going to run into things that we have not seen or planned for. Like, so, for example, you can only have so many people in so many countries. In the guinea pig group, we only had 15 people. And we did have a couple people from the UK, but they were in like a different positions. Like they already had a website or something, and that's different from somebody in the UK who didn't when they tried to sign up for PayPal or whatever. So we are going to run into stuff that we have not seen or planned for. And I just want you guys to be prepared for that and set expectations. It doesn't mean that we're not doing our job, and I just kind of want to put that out there, because there's just no way. We did the testing that we could with the guinea pigs, and that was all you guys would really have wanted us to do. So just keep that in the back of your mind when things do happen. The other thing, I'll promise you that we're going to run into stuff. Heck, we already have, But what I can also promise you is that we'll sort it, and quickly, and we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we resolve the issue, okay? Another thing, and we're going to mention this again, freaking Facebook, man, they change. We love them, but their interface changes every single day. So when you're trying to teach people, how to do stuff, it can be incredibly frustrating when you either shoot a video or do some slides, and then you realize 12 hours later they're out of date, So, but this is one of the big reasons why we have set a pace, and we are going to go in a very measured and structured way, okay? Because we can't get ahead of ourselves. If we get ahead of ourselves, we are going to cause problems, which we already have done. And so we just always have to follow that. But here's our deal. This is another way that people know that I'm old, because I remember this guy. I don't know how many people possibly remember Monty Hall, right? But here's the deal that I want to make to you guys, okay? Just give us 60 days of your patience and trust, and we are going to move mountains to build a $100,000 a year business with you. So what I'm asking you to do, in other words, is don't argue with me about what we're doing when and how the schedule is laid out, all right? Because I don't want to spend time doing that. What I want to spend time doing is moving people along at, the way that we've laid this out and the way that we've structured it. All right, we've got the whole curriculum laid out. Now, we may change it, and we almost always do, okay? But based on feedback that we get, during the course of the course, that makes sense, okay? Hey, we're just hearing, by the way, that some folks are having a problem getting into the members area, and so I'm just getting a message about that. So we got it. We're on it. We've got, our tech folks doing that. So I think what's happening is that ironically, they're upgrading security. So that's a little bit of irony for you. But anyway.
It's working. It is working for most people, but it's coming in and out a little bit for some people just at the moment as they're doing these a few upgrades in the background. But it'll all be good tomorrow. So just have a little bit of patience if you do see some issues with the members area or anything like that.
Yep. And actually, and that's another thing that I do want to bring up from this whole expectation thing. We have been often, when we do stuff like this, we become the victim of hackers. It happened to us last year, and we are trying desperately to make sure that it doesn't happen this year. Not your sites, but our sites. Because what happens is we do some webinars, and even though people don't join our program, maybe they still see all our stuff. And then they, how people are. I don't tell you guys. So the great PayPal debacle of 16, as it will forever be known. So lots of people had problems because what we tried to do was, for folks who were, kind of early birds, we had an early bird session last week and did some stuff and tried to get together some pre-work so that, that people could make some progress, And we ended up getting a little ahead of ourselves, to be honest. And it caused some problems for people because they really weren't at the right point if they were in certain countries, to be able to give PayPal all the information it needed. I ended up getting crazy phone calls with PayPal and apologies from PayPal, and it was just insane what was going on. So here's what I want everybody to do about PayPal, okay? Stand down, all right, because it is not on your critical path right now. Don't worry about a payment processor yet. We'll get back to this next session. And what we're working on in the background is just preparing a full documentation for all the countries about here's what it's called in your country. Here are the pieces of information that are needed. So here's when we should and could do this, okay? And, like I said, so for example, we had I think only one UK member, I don't remember now, in the guinea pigs, but that UK member had already had a website and stuff like that. So if you don't already have one and you weren't prepared to answer some of those questions, it just became problematic. So just everybody relax. There are lots of options. PayPal is by no means, some sort of secret part of this plan for world domination. I mean, not even close. So we will prepare a full document, which we're working on right now, all the different countries, what it's called there, what the alternatives are, and our advice to you. And my guess is we'll be all, trying to adjusting it from there, okay? But nobody panic. Nobody panic. You know, this will not be. There are alternatives for everyone everywhere. Okay, so nobody has to worry about this. Okay, support. And for those of you who did join our early bird session last Friday, the only thing I'm going to repeat is just the introduction to the people, the coaches, just because I thought that was like really important, and I wanted to make sure that nobody missed that. And I think it's great to put a face with a name. And unfortunately there's a couple people that I don't have pictures with, but I'll mention them by name, and that's Kevin and Thea. But we'll do that. We'll mention them again when we go through the people on the help desk. But I asked Melissa, who manages our help desk, and I said, is there anything you want me to share with everybody? And she said, well, first thing would be just check the members area regularly. Of course, we're going to email people updates. But a couple things. One, we don't really like to bother people like every 3 days, or whatever with an email. So we try and keep that down to like no more than one a week, if that. Okay. So, and Heather's saying the support is fabulous. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So we try and keep that down to a minimum, but at the top of the members area, there's always a section that's like sort of like what's new. It says updates, and it's in reverse chronological order, and just kind of outlines, hey, here are the latest things that have been added to the members area. That way, if you haven't been there since whatever date, you can see all of the new things that have been there since the last time you were there. Okay? So anyway, just keep that in mind. Ready Talk, we're still playing with Ready Talk. Maybe now that we've been able to, I know that Mark and Brent have been able to blow up the chat window, which was a little bit of a problem for us because it was so tiny. It's not really the best for answering questions, but we're doing the best that we can. And I'm not sure that there's something better out there. Certainly better than emails in a Google Hangout, that's for sure.
By the way,
do the best we can. Yes.
We're getting quite a few people have come in and they've said that the support has been incredible already. They've had really fast replies to their emails and stuff. So just wanted to recognize that.
Yeah, I agree. That's all I'm hearing, which is fantastic. They have a tough job, and it's we all do, but it's really nice to hear that. And they're running. And there's the email if anybody needs it, obviously to the members area too. And support is running 7 days a week, and there's only about 4 hours per day where it's not being manned. And we really wanted to just like overkill in the support area, And I talked to Melissa and I just said, even just this morning, Aiden and I were both talking to her, and we said, look, it's whatever we need to do. It's an open checkbook. Whatever we need to do to help people, that's what we're going to do. And so I'm glad that that's paying off. Okay. And yeah, I think that's it. And why we wanted to make sure that it's manned, 7 days a week, and for as many hours as we possibly could, is because that we want to make sure that nothing stands in the way of progress. Okay, so that's our goal. So Melissa, in addition to potentially sort of coaching and answering some questions that you might have, she is really the one behind organizing everybody. There's a lot of different people. Most of the people, all of the coaches, they're running their own businesses, and it's not like they can work, even an 8-hour day, right? So she has a scheduling nightmare to try and make sure that, hey, when they have pockets of time to help out and work, that the help desk is manned. So she's been just phenomenal. She's got mad organizational skills. She's a really, really nice person, and that's always helpful. Way nicer than me, that's for sure. And so also she is like a ridiculously successful internet marketer in her own right. So she's I forget the number of the what she accomplished with. She got like the number 20-something book on Amazon, and not like in a category, but like of all books. It's like crazy.
Yes.
So, and she's a mom. Yeah, somebody said that. So, So anyway, Melissa's awesome, and she's, you know, behind the scenes making things happen. And Chris is our, like, customer member satisfaction ninja. That's what we call him. That's what I call him. I may be the only one who calls him that. And first of all, he runs his own very, very successful business. And he does a lot of affiliate marketing, a lot of physical product sales. He used to do web design. He is a Canadian. That's the only thing wrong with him. He's a Canadian. And SEM business. I mean, he's done it all, right? He's awesome dude. He's also very nice, much nicer than me. And we just like to refer to him as kind of like your champion. So, you know, what we like Chris to do is to do things like the summaries and the time codes and make sure the members area is updated. Do all the things that he would want if he was a student, essentially, and to make sure that your experience, you know, is kind of unparalleled. So anyway, you may not hear a lot from him, but he's the guy. You know, when you look at these summaries of all of the calls that we do and all the material there, he's the guy behind the scenes that puts that all together. We got Brent. Some of you may have heard Brent before, probably. And he's obviously a stone cold expert, and I drive him nuts all the time. I think I drove him nuts today quite a bit, and he can be a nice guy, but most of the time. But he's not as nice as Chris or Melissa, that's for sure. That is absolutely the worst picture I could find of Mark. He along with Brent they're the leaders of our secret lab, and he's a good guy, fun guy. So you'll hear a lot from Mark. He's on the call here tonight, as well as Brent. Actually, all these guys most of them should be. I don't know if all of them are, but a lot of them are. John is doing some really fun stuff. You know, he took our training, and man, he's just been blowing us away, showing us things. He's doing things that we're not doing, and that's always fun to see somebody take the core training and then, you know, go off and do some other things. And he chases trends in, you know, kind of like pop market trends and things like that, which is really very, very interesting. And he's from my adopted home state. I grew up in New Jersey, but I spent 10 or 12 years in, I guess 12 years in North Carolina before moving down here to Key West. So, yeah. And Freddie, he just came out of nowhere, and he's in South Africa and started dropping results bombs on us, you know, like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. He's an awesome guy. And Rob's our UK member. Stalked his Facebook to get a picture of Rob. So sorry about that, Rob. All right, anyway, so there's some face. I think it's important, you know, hey, it's, some faces with names. And yeah, I don't want to leave out Theo and Kenny. And I just don't have pictures of them, but those are another two guys that you'll be hearing a lot from. So, you know, for those of us who know us, we are really big on this. We deliver so much stuff that we never even talk about before you become a member, and we love it. It's just we totally love it. We love surprising people. We love kind of giving away extra value, and it's just cool. So here's the first few things that we're going to over deliver on. Okay, we're announcing the Return Center, okay, the 100K Factory Return Center. And let me explain what that is. The reason we're doing this is because we want to make sure that nothing gets in your way. And I know that for this issue came up with a lot of people, and we know it's a non-issue. But even if you get just one, you got to do something with it, right? You got to have some process. And, you know, these are one of those things that can be a problem for people, honestly. And particularly if you're outside the United States. You know, if you can imagine you're outside the U.S. and you're dealing with a customer that you're marketing to and selling products to in the United States, and they want to do a return. So here's how it's going to work. We've got a warehouse that you're going to be able to use, and it's going to be your warehouse. And I do want to stress that this is super, super rare, these returns, but we felt like it was something we needed to get out there for everybody. Your website will have a policy and a contact email for returns, all right? And the customer will email you and say, hey, I need to return this item. And you say, okay, stand by. you're going to request an RMA number, okay, from the return center. You're just going to log into our portal, and this is all actually going to be integrated into the command center by the time you need it. And you'll say, hey, I need an RMA number. Here's the information about the customer and the product that's coming back, okay? Then you send an email back to the customer and saying, we are happy to take returns. You simply have to package it and ship it up, and please send it here with the attention of this RMA number, okay? Now, what happens then is most people take down that information and they go, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's a pain in the ass. So, you know, the bottom line is the returns are very rare to begin with, but then to actually take the step of packaging it up and sending it out with an RMA number is also very rare. And by the way, we're not trying to exploit. It's just human nature. That's just, everybody does this. That's why people have RMA numbers and restocking fees and all that kind of stuff.
Hey,
but we'll log, yes.
Just to let everyone know, an RMA number is it means return merchandise authorization or something like that. It's basically just a return authorization number, a return merchandise number.
Yeah, exactly. And we will log the return in and notify you, okay? So the customer ships it at their expense to us. We then will get it back. We know that this unit is from you because it has your RMA number on it. So we'll let you know. And you can decide what you want to do with it. You know, we can send it back to the supplier for you. We can destroy it. We could send it back to you to fulfill it at another time, or we could even send it out for you somewhere else to another customer that you just got, or some other thing you want to do. And we're comfortable doing this because, you know, it's just we know how rare it is. So it's not like we're charging you for this, all right? It's a huge benefit, I think, because it just takes a worry off of you. And frankly, you know, if you are outside the United States, I do think that this is even more useful, you know, because now you're totally covered, you know, and all that kind of good stuff. Okay.
Steve, a few people are just saying, are you doing this free of charge? Do you just want to elaborate on that so everyone knows?
Yeah, we are. We're doing this. Yep. We are doing this free of charge. We're not charging you guys to do this.
It's included, guys.
Yeah, it's included. So, and like I said, we can do this because we know that this is not a big deal. You know, we just know it doesn't happen. So, all right. So there you have it. Any other questions on? We're just getting a lot of good feedback from it, so that's great. So there you go. That's one over deliver, and now we're on to the next one.
You're gonna like this one.
Yep, everybody's been killing us for this one. We are going to do a Facebook group. So there you go. Now, there's a catch. There's a slight catch. All right. We are going to take, and more details are going to follow. You guys are going to, if you're following the program along with us, which we certainly want everyone to do, you're going to reach a point where we'll call you, you'll get this badge. You'll be CEO certified. And we're working out all the details of exactly, you know, what goals you have to reach. It's not going to be hard to do. It's just we just want people that are serious. You know, that's all. That's really all we care about. We want people that are serious. We want people that are working the program. It's not like we're going to have to say that you have to be exactly on our schedule or, you know, you have to make $1 billion or anything. I promise. But we don't want to just like open it up for everybody and then all of a sudden have, you know, people spamming and doing all this crap. We don't have time to be the watchdog in a Facebook group. This is why we've avoided doing it in the past, frankly. So the way to get around it is we're going to make sure that it's just the serious folks that get in. So stand by for more information on that, but we are absolutely committed to doing a Facebook group. And this is the first one that we've done, I don't know, ever, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't know if we did one.
Outside of Blueprint Academy, for sure. It's the first one forever.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So just to let you know, we are going to be running a bunch of contests, and you're going to hear lots about those as the training progresses. We have some really, really cool ideas for some prizes. They're going to be awesome. And I think they're, you know, going to build a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. And the first contest begins tonight. So stand by. Okay, training structure. So this is the structure that I like to I like to do and that we've kind of settled on and I think works quite well. Up front, kind of before we get into training, we just talk about what are the action items that we expect to have to be doing out of this meeting. And the reason I like to put that up front instead of only at the end is because I like you to start thinking about them as we're going through the training. Because you need to be asking yourself, did we give you enough information to be able to accomplish those action items? Okay? And if we didn't, then you need to speak up. Even if it's not here, you can do that through the support system. And it does happen. You know, sometimes we, again, back to that slide I talked about expectations, you know, we've taught this to a small handful of people, and that's all we could really test it on. So, you know, maybe we are not going to get our point across as effectively as we should. Or maybe we need to supplement with, you know, another document or a video or a demo of some kind, right? We need more training. And that's happened to us, you know, several times in the past. And then we respond, and we develop that. So that's why I like to put them up front. Then we'll get into the training that's required and examples. Training and examples that are required in order to do the action items. We will usually talk about case study and, you know, bring that into it and say, okay, well, we did the action items. Here's what we went through. Here's our results. Here's what's going on with us. Obviously, there's not much to talk about that today since we didn't have action items into this meeting, really. And then we'll review the action items again, just at the end, where they normally are, again, to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the fact that, yeah, I can accomplish these. And this will be our structure. And then, as I pointed out, after the meeting, and we will gauge the feedback, you know, just from talking to people and from talking to support, and we will then do, you know, supplemental material if we need to, right? And we often do that even if we don't get comments that say we need to do supplemental material. Some things we know work better through videos than they do with an online demonstration. So, for example, we already have identified 2 supplemental videos that we're going to do after the training here. And, you know, what we'll do is we'll gauge the feedback and we'll see exactly, we kind of have a feeling for what we're going to do, and it's actually in the slides. But, you know, we'll gauge the feedback and then we'll adjust that to whatever we need to, okay? Okay, so we are going to be following these 7 steps. Obviously, we're going to be doing them pretty much in a row, although we're going to be kind of doing a little bit of both 1 and 2 tonight, and we might, you know, dip into some other areas there, like do, you know, a little piece of some of the other pieces. But we will do all 7, and so, you know, we'll come back to this for context every once in a while, okay? But what I want you to do is focus more on the tasks in front of you and the chunks, the pieces, because if you do that, then I know we're going to make progress. And we'll make progress, and what I promise you, it kind of goes back to that patience slide and that let's make a deal slide, is over the next 60 days, if you just kind of focus on that next step that's in front of you, those action items, the bigger picture is going to emerge here, okay? So let's talk about, we've got quite a bit to do on the first go-round, okay? Here are the action items for tonight that we will expect you guys to be able to do after, you know, after this training. Familiarize yourself with the product picking component of the command center. Okay. Learn the criteria for choosing the products to test, and pick 20 of them. Now, I'd like those 20 products to be in at least 5 different niches. Got to make that happen. Just so we have like a nice cross section. Like, I don't want you to pick 20 products that are all camping products or, you know, that kind of stuff. I'd love it if you could do at least 5 different niches. And don't worry, about, well, is this a niche or is that? Don't sweat it. It's not that, it's not that critical. But my whole point is I'd like you to not have to just focus on one kind of target audience, right? So we're going to pick 20 products that meet the criteria. We're going to try and make sure they're in some diverse niches, different audiences, maybe at least 5 different ones. And we're going to learn how to find initial audience populations for these products. And for each of the products, we're going to find 2 to 3, and I'd love 3, initial audience targets. Okay? So we're going to end up with 20 products, and for each of those products, we're going to find 2 to 3 initial audience targets for them. You're going to familiarize yourself with Design Master Plus, okay? And you're going to build 20 ads. You're going to build 1 ad for each product. You're going to see how easy that is, okay? So somebody's asking, and so the question begins about, is that 20 products in 5 niches or 20 products in 1 niche for a total of 100 products? Let me be more clear. You're going to pick 20 products, full stop, 20, 20, okay? I would just like it if they would be spread out across 5 or so niches, and that's just a guideline. I just don't want them all 20 products to be camping. But in no scenario do I want you to pick more than 20 products, right? And for each of those products, the 20 products, you're going to find 2 to 3 initial audience targets, and we'll explain what. I just want you to understand what the action items are. Obviously, we're going to show you how to do this for each of those products. And you're going to build 1 ad for each of those products. So you're going to have 20 products. Each product is going to have 2 to 3 initial audience targets, and each product is going to have 1 ad. There we go. Okay. And our contest is going to be around the ad. So you're going to, and we'll talk about that after we talk about ad building. You're going to upload your best one into the contest tab. And I'm going to say this a couple times during this little presentation here. Do not send your ad to support, okay? There will be a special place in the contest tab to put your ad in there, and we'll talk about that contest. Okay, but do not send to support. I want to make sure that the only thing that goes to support are things that need support, okay? Okay, so it's always a challenge to teach something like this, all right? It's kind of like, it's not anywhere near like this hard, but it's like, teach someone how to invent something. Okay, well, I don't know how to do that. Like, how would you teach someone how to do that? So, sometimes because the process is sort of circular and it's iterative, and you don't have to. It's not linear necessarily. It's not like, okay, this is step 1, then check, then 2, then it's not something that can be done that way. So what we're going to try and do is show it, but we have to show it to you sort of in a linear fashion, and then we'll sort of try and make the point that you could kind of almost start at any point in there, and then we'll show you a bunch of examples. And then later we're going to have Mark and Brent actually even just like go through it on a video. And I'm hoping that all of those things together, will kind of get the point across, okay? We know already, even from hopefully you attended the webinars, we're looking for products that are already selling online. We want products that are Facebook friendly, and we'll get into that because they have to have audiences, and they can't be, it's just common sense. We've talked about this. It can't be weapons or drugs or, you want to stay away from even things like supplements. Anything that would, raise a red flag with Facebook. And Mark and Brent, I don't know if you can talk, but if you come up with other examples that might raise a red flag, we talked about supplements and the obvious ones. So, you can just type them in Skype, or you can talk if you're, whatever you want to do. But if you come up with any, that's fine. But just be conscious of that. We want good margins, although we're not even going to worry about that for a little bit, and I'll explain why. We want a hungry audience, and we'll talk about how we can figure that out, but we're going to do some testing. Now, so this process is a bit circular. We have this database of products, right, which is the easiest place to source products and make sure that, yes, here's a product I can sell. But it's not really it's not the only place to sort of get ideas. So the product database, its main its main reason for existence isn't necessarily to find great ideas to sell products, but it can be used that way. More, what it's used for is, hey, I got an idea of maybe selling something like this. Do we have one of those in the database? Let me just check it, and let me check and see the statistics on there to see how it's doing. Is it really selling? You know, does it look like a quality product? That kind of thing, okay? And, you know, so what we could typically do is we can start with either the database, or we can start with these idea sites, and I'm going to show you a few, and there's a ton of them, but we're going to show you kind of our go-to ones in just a sec. And I want to make sure that you understand this is a kind of a brainstorming process, right? So don't be afraid to be drawn in another direction, man. You know, I mean, just like I call it, you know, cross-pollination or something like that. If you start out looking for something and chasing something, and then all of a sudden something catches your eye, that's totally cool. That's the way this works. It's like that lateral thinking, okay? So you can start with you can do it this way, and so we'll go through it one way, and then you can kind of even just do it in reverse if you want. But let's just go through it one way, and then I'll show you real examples here. You can start with the idea sites, and you sort of browse and see what people are talking about, what people are buying, what things interest you. I told you to be drawn to cross-pollination, right? And then you can look at the detail, and you can see, you know, how many people are talking about it. It depends on the site you're looking at, but, you know, how many people are watching it if it's eBay auctions. And you can get a feel for, you know, just how hungry of an audience there is, right? And also, maybe it's something that you know something about, because, you know, you're going to have to figure out how to target people who you're going to have to know who would want to buy this product. So that has to either be something that you know about or you don't mind researching. You know, maybe it's like a really cool product, you don't know much about it, but it interests you. That's cool, because it's not hard to research, you know, just to go on Google and start to put together what we call the customer avatar, which we're going to talk about, all right? Or maybe you know someone who knows something about it, like maybe your dad or your brother or something is really into whatever, yoga socks, to use this example, right? So then you go find that. You know, if it sort of passes your sniff test and you go, yeah, this might be a cool thing to try, then you go to the product database with our product picker, which we can't believe we didn't come up with a better name for, but we suck at names. And you go, hey, let me find something in there or something similar, right? And again, guys, we got an example of this whole process that we're going to go through here tonight, so hang tight. And then you say, you know, okay, I found one in the database, or I found something that's very much like it. Does it meet the criteria from the database? And if it does, that's a winner, okay? And you shouldn't, and I'm going to go through the criteria in just a second here, okay? You shouldn't worry about pricing or margin right now, okay? Except you probably should, for now, stay under $50 retail. And if you don't know what it retails for, I mean, come on, you just guess. It's okay. It's not exact, right? And we'll sort out pricing and margins and stuff during the testing, because you never quite know. Not only do you not know if something's going to sell, but you don't know what price it's going to sell for. Lots of times you raise the price and things sell better. I mean, it happens all the time, okay? So you can start this, and you can do this process in reverse. Let me just go through the whole thing and get like all the way from the idea site to the product picker, and then we can see maybe how you could do it in reverse, okay? So let's take a look at some of the idea sites or So Wainlow, go to Wainlow. You can see what's trending there. You can type in keywords. You can just browse around and start to see, you know, all sorts of different bizarre things that are currently trending, okay? It's a really cool place to get you to start thinking about it. And you can look at the detail of these things, and you can kind of see like how many people saved it, you know, and you can start to get a little bit of a feel for the social proof, right? Don't worry about pricing. I see people that don't worry about pricing of what you can get it for yet or anything like that. We're not even anywhere near there, okay? You can start to see like what some of the retail, you can get a general idea of the retail price. But don't worry about pricing or margins, please, not yet. Okay, this is a really fantastic. First of all, that's a pretty cool thing here, and this is just a really fantastic place to brainstorm, to start out, clean low. Another one is watch count. So here you can start to see what's the most watched stuff on eBay. It's an incredibly accurate, just an incredibly accurate metric of sort of pop culture at any moment in time. What people are really searching for, and you can look, in the detail of if you put in. I think we searched for gadgets, and we just started looking at, what auctions were getting a lot of people who were watching them. This just starts to give you a feel for, oh yeah, these are products that are already selling. They're already selling online. You could tell if they're Facebook friendly, right? You could tell there's probably a pretty hungry market, although you're not necessarily saying definitively, and that's okay because we're going to test. But it passes the sniff test. These things are trending, right? Does that make sense to people so far? This will start to get the ideas flowing. Okay. Pinterest is awesome for this too, right? You just type in gadgets or type in whatever you want, or just start roaming around Pinterest, and the things that people pin are, you can see how the most popular pins, and I don't have to explain social media to you. Stuff that's popular is trending, and these are gadgets and things that people would probably be interested in buying, or else they wouldn't be putting pictures up, right? And again, don't be afraid to be drawn in another direction or drawn in a related direction or think laterally, okay? Here we pulled up a little bit more detail. That's pretty cool. Keychain, right? So once you work the idea sites, and really, there's so many products out there. If you just use those three, I think you'll be fine. There's so many products out there. If you just use one of those, you'd probably be fine, right? But it'll get your creative juices flowing, and maybe you come up with, 4 or 5 at a time. And you go, yeah, maybe these will work for my list of 20. And then what you can do after you do that is you just go over to the product picker, because we never came up with a better name for it. And this is simply the interface into our database. And somebody was asking how many. I don't actually know the amount. I know it's more than 1.4 million products now. It's probably at least 1.5. I don't actually know. So then you could go here, and we were going to do like a video on how to do this, but I forgot. I don't think it could be any more easy. If you click on search filters, it'll break the filters down here. Pardon me, guys. I apologize so much. And you can put a keyword in, and you can also select a category. And I would just leave everything else blank for now, and then do a search, and you'll come up with, a list of things. And then you can look at the detail, and you have all the information you need to see if it meets the criteria, which I'm gonna explain what the criteria is in 1 minute. We also have an example of doing this from start to scratch that we're going to show you here, where we found one on, I think we found one on, I don't remember which site it was. And then we were like, yeah, that looks good, and then let's go find something in the database, and we found something similar, and it passed the criteria and all that stuff. So we'll show you that, so in case you're not getting all this, all right? But the database is cake to use, because there's not much, functionality to it. It's really just, hey, here's a front end to a whole shit ton of products that you could sell, right? And then you simply want to make sure that these criteria are met for these products, for now anyway. Shoot for at least 10 orders on the number of orders. And you can see this on the grid. You can see all these things on the grid except for the seller rating, which will be there shortly, but it's in the detail. So if you find one that meets the other criteria, you could just hit the detail button, and you can see the seller rating. Okay, but it'll be put on the grid. It may even be there now. So we want to at least have something that's had 10 orders. We want to have a rating of 4, We want to have a feedback number of 5 as a minimum, and we want to have a seller rating of 95% or higher. Okay. So just some examples of products, and then I'll try and go through this again and make sure everybody's getting it. So these are products that all meet the criteria, and these are products you could pick these, but I mean there's so many products I would suggest that you don't, but these all meet the criteria as examples. Handheld metal detector, and these are the kinds. I think more importantly, these are the kinds of things that we're looking for. These are more like impulse buys. These are things that people that are kind of like trendy and trending, and wouldn't necessarily find when they're maybe shopping at their mall or something, or well, nobody even goes to malls anymore. Fishing hook, leather bracelet, anchor bracelet. I'll just go through these real quickly and then we'll circle back. RC bait boat. Okay, I think you get the idea. We got a bunch of other examples, but so the idea here is, let me go back to quickly this slide here. The idea is you can go through this process. Now that you've sort of seen it, I just want to talk through it again. So you start with these idea sites, for lack of a better way to describe them, and they're fantastic because you just have your finger right on the pulse of, hey, this is exactly what's trending, what people are talking about, what people are interested in, and you just browse through them and see what kind of draws your attention. And again, always be drawn to cross-pollination and lateral thinking and all that kind of stuff, and then make sure that they kind of pass the sniff test. Yeah, okay, it looks like people are really buying them online, or they're watching the auctions or whatever, wherever site you're looking at. And again, maybe it's something you know about, or somebody who knows something, or you're interested in learning more about it. But once you find something, then you go to the database and you see if you can find, if not that exact product, something like it, and then make sure that it matches the criteria, and then it should go on your list of 20. And you could do this process in reverse, right? You could start with the database. There's no harm in that. You can start putting in all sorts of different criteria and keywords and categories and pull up product ideas and make sure they meet the criteria, and then go over to the idea sites and take a look and see what the social proof is. That's totally okay. Does that make sense? Brent is saying that maybe I should talk about a cross-pollination explanation. Yeah, because I think I just made that up. So what I mean by that is if you're starting to look at product X, and all of a sudden you find it draws your eye to a whole new category of products, but you find something else that you like better, that you think catches your eye more, that's perfectly okay. In brainstorming, it's okay to get distracted, I guess is my point, And again, we're going to go through a whole demonstration of, because we're going to look at audiences too, and we're going to look at ads. And so we're going to go through a whole demonstration of looking for a product on those idea sites, picking one out, going to the product database and saying, do we have anything similar? And then saying yes or no, and does it meet the criteria, that whole thing. Okay? All right. Mark, Brent, you guys are looking at comments. You think anything else I should address? Where's the product picker? So if you go in the members area, it is in software, conveniently enough. Okay.
Hey, Steve, we've also started adding a bunch of different questions to the questions tab. We've just been flagging questions in the questions tab in the chat box. We can either take them at the end, or we can take them, partway through. I'll just let you decide what you think is going to be best for the flow here. Okay.
Maybe, are there any in there that are sort of about picking products? I'll just take a quick look because I figured maybe I would.
They're not. I don't think they're specific to picking products. No.
No. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I mean, there's some about the general criteria and stuff, but
yeah. Well, we're gonna review it again. Okay. So hang tight. Okay. So I promise we're going to come back and do this whole thing again. so that you're going to be able to, do all this, but I want to we have to start. We have to get the information out there. We have to kind of reinforce it and then walk through it together, okay? So the next thing we have to be concerned about, because we have to, part of our job is once we pick 20 products, we have to also pick a couple, 2 to 3 initial audiences that we want to target. So what we really want to do is build, for lack of a better word, an avatar, okay? And what I mean by that is that we want to build almost like a model of who the customer would be. Who the heck is going to buy this product? And really spend some time thinking about it and, writing it down. And it's too many people don't even bother to think about this. And they just go, yeah, okay, if I'm selling a fishing rod, I'm just gonna mail, or I'm gonna advertise to people like fishing. So, there's more to it than that. Really seriously think about who would use this product, who would want this product, how old are they? Are they male or female? What's their occupation, their income levels? What are their behaviors, hobbies, sports, likes, interests, dislikes even? Always think of the negative too. Newspapers, although nobody reads newspapers anymore, but magazines, books. Take down notes and build up almost like you're writing a novel and you are creating a character guide. That's the best thing to do when you're thinking about marketing. You answer all of these questions and more that you can come up with, I'm sure. Where do they shop? Where do they hang out? What brands are they buying? What TV shows do they like? What famous people would they be drawn to? It's really, really important to think about that and to do that for each of your products. Have almost like a customer bio, okay? And again, this finding an initial audience, it's another difficult thing to teach, frankly, because it's easy to teach 2 + 2 = 4 because it always equals 4. But there isn't actually a right answer all the time there can be many right answers to how to target an audience or what audience to pick to target for a product. It's not 4. It could be 4, 6, 8, 27, 32, right? So it is a bit of an art. And I think the best way to do that is by doing it, honestly, is you try it, you jump in, and you see a ton of examples and, work from there. So we're going to do a really slow and easy example, and I'm just going to gauge how people feel about that. And Mark and Brent are going to do some more over-the-shoulder ones, too, on Monday. That'll be in the members area. But it's something you just need to jump in and try, and we're gonna explain it. We're going to show you an example, and then we're going to ask you to do that. What we want to do is we want to start with a pretty high-level audience, and then we just want to find one other audience to combine it with. And we're looking for that intersection to give us about 500,000 to 1.5 million members in the audience. Bigger is not better necessarily. Pardon me again, sorry. Sometimes it is, but so don't even worry about that. Just make sure that you're and again, even the 500, if it's 499 or 480, you can, none of these are exact numbers. So it needs to be, and we're going to show you screenshots here of where you find these numbers and all kind of stuff. I'm just, I got to just give you the information first, then I'll show you, and then I'll give you the information again, that kind of thing, okay? So, we want to make sure that we can find 2 to 3 of these targeted audiences that both have a high level and a lower level target, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And you can use multiple high levels. Now, one quick example is you could start with fishing and combine that with Ugly Stick. I think is some kind of fishing product, So let me show you example of what I'm talking about in just a second here. Yeah, so just keep in mind, there's no right answer here. It makes it harder to teach. And we are going to use these initial audiences for our first product tests. But don't sweat. You've got time to learn this. This is why we're doing this first, okay? You've got time to play with it. You've got time to learn it. You've got time to see more examples. You've got time to ask questions. You've got time to do this, all right? But we are going to use them for our first product test. And again, I think I mentioned this already. The Facebook interface changes every 30 seconds. So we're going to do our best to show you what it looks like right this second, and then you might have to extrapolate from there. So the place we want to go for audience finding is if you take that little triangle thing there, I forget what it's actually called, and you click on it, you can go down to Manage Ads, and that's where we want to be, even though we're not running any ads right now. It's going to be in the Ads Manager, and we want to be in Audience Insights. This is where we want to be. And then it's going to ask you this question. You want everyone on Facebook. You want to click everyone on Facebook. Okay? And then you will be here. And what you want to start doing now is you want to start with your high level. So let's say that we've got a fishing rod. Okay? I think it's pretty straightforward that we would start with fishing. Now, it's kind of interesting to me when we were playing around with this. I just assumed that most fishermen would be men. And it's not the case, actually, which is kind of bizarre. I was really surprised at that. Interesting age demographic mix, too. This will help you learn about your, creating your customer bios, too, right? So you don't have to, create your customer bio, your avatar, and then you're done with it, and then go do this. It's an iterative process. You're constantly kind of going back and forth and learning more about your market and more about your audience. The more you know about the people who can potentially buy your products, the better off you're going to be, the more you'll sell, okay? So we'll start with fishing, and then we'll go over to where it says page likes. And you'll just see a whole bunch of other things that people like, other pages that people like. And so for now, what we want to do is identify the intersection here between the big one, fishing, okay, you're in here, and the page likes, which means they also like Ugly Stick as an example. And you can see Ugly Stick, if you go over to the right, has an audience there of, you can't see my cursor, I guess, 669.4 thousand. Okay? So in our example, and we're going to show you another one that we can actually talk through. Yeah, go ahead.
Just to jump in, guys, if you're struggling to actually see the screen here, you will get all the slides and additional explanation about all of this as well. Okay, so don't worry about this. Another question, and this is a little bit off topic, but I just saw it here, so I wanted to answer it. Ray was saying, do we have to worry about physical shipping and stock inventory? Absolutely not. If you're still not 100% sure about the business model, it's going to become apparent to you. But, you don't have to hold inventory. You don't have to worry about shipping or anything like that. Okay, so, but anyway, guys, the main point I wanted to make was if you're struggling to see the slides, you will get, you will get access to them afterwards, and you'll get, we will elaborate on the details as well.
Yeah, guys, and if you're having a hard time understanding it, you just have to go with the flow a little bit, and we got to jump in somewhere, and it's okay. It's totally okay because you're going to see just a ton of examples and more videos and more supplemental material, but we got to start somewhere, So,
and it will all start to fall into place as we, move into week 2, and as you see the supplementary stuff. So we understand that everyone's starting from different points, but just keep cruising along, and it's going to all fall into place, and it's going to make sense.
Yep, exactly. So this is what we're looking for each, for each product that you picked. We want to have 2 or 3 of these combinations. And so one combination is fishing and Ugly Stick. Okay. that generates you can look over here and 600 and whatever that was, 99.4. And you could do another one with fishing, or maybe try another higher level one. Okay, maybe boating or something like that, right? That's a pretty high level one. There is no right or wrong answer, guys. All right. So the idea, what I really want you to accomplish, is to try and just play with it and start to learn about your audience, because we'll have a chance to revisit these before we do the live test. Okay, but heck, it'd be great to try it and give it a go before we get into that. Now, we're doing a lot here tonight because we have a lot to do. We got a lot to get going. So I want to just walk it all through, because the final step is also creating ads for the 20 products. So I want to just get through it and then show an example, and then we'll kind of go back. Okay. So we showed how to find products, that process. We showed how to find potential target audiences, of which we want 2 or 3 of those, okay? And now we're just going to show how to do the ads, which surprisingly are like the easiest thing, I think. And you guys all, I think, know that you have access. This is all in the software area. It's called Design Master Plus. This is the design tool, and there is we're not going to do a demo of this or teach how to use the tool. It's pretty easy to use, but there's a tutorial video on how to use it in the members area. Okay, this one we did do a tutorial on. And I think it's best to just do some examples of ads and then go back to kind of the elements and things that you can use in your ads. Now, honestly, these ads are not, amazing looking. I mean, they're really not. They're pretty silly, actually. And it's kind of funny. We talked about this. We had a long conversation about this. We were like, we feel a little bit, I don't know, almost embarrassed. It's like, and like maybe we should, do different ads that look a little nicer or something. And then we go like, yeah, but these are the ones that work. I was like, okay, well, yeah, all right, I'm in. That's right. You're absolutely right. We got to just do the ones that work. So we've tested doing things a little bit, I don't know. I mean, it's not that they're not nice. It's just, there's not much to them, But anyway, these are the ones that work. I mean, we have tried. These are ads that absolutely work. I mean, in some cases we've changed the products a little bit or whatever, but these are ads that have all been super, super successful. So, putting a little slogan, arrows are always huge. The price, here we've got, the quantity, adding a case, the price again. Again, these arrows all the time, huge converters, just draws people's eye. Here we've got the price. Here we've got the arrow. A different color on the that kind of matches the incredibly nice phone case that I would certainly love to have. Okay.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
Hey, it's Mark here. I can say a couple of things to a couple of these ads.
Yeah.
If you like, can you take the slide back to like 3 or 4 back to those guitar picks?
Yes, sir. There you
go. So like on these, right? My wife walked in and said, "What are those?" When she saw it on my screen. You got to keep in mind with all of these ads, as ugly as they look or as wonderful as they look, we're sending this ad to people that are guitar lovers, right? They know instantly what that is because they use them all the time. And it's the same thing with, with all these things. Like now you can go forward to the jewel purse you were on. She knew instantly what that was, So, you got to keep in mind, as beautiful or as ugly as you think they are, they appeal to the audience that you are sending them directly to. So.
Right. And the nice thing about it is that they're easy to do. If you just kind of have in your toolbox, thinking about arrows and changing the text and background colors, being funny, maybe adding some scarcity, only 7 left, call to action, the price, just moving those things around. That's really all you need to do, right? It's not like,
hey,
and you know what? Yeah.
Just to jump in there, I always joke around with Brent and Mark and with our team that make the images for us and stuff, that sometimes the images that we use, they look like something that a 7-year-old would make, something like that. And they are actually sometimes the ones that work the best. So we've tried with some really fancy, very, very professional images that our professional designers create for us. And oftentimes they don't work as well because they almost look like they are too professional. And I think people know that they are kind of like ads from perhaps they think they're ads from big companies and they just don't click on them. So sometimes it's the most simple things that work. I mean, we've even had ads that have had spelling mistakes in them, and they've worked like amazingly well. So,
so true.
Yeah, I mean, this is just to really hammer that home, guys. You can make the ugliest ads, and it might look like your 5-year-old made them or a 5-year-old, and they might work just perfectly. So.
Yeah. And again, it has the added benefit of it's pretty easy to do these kind of ads. And if you're stuck, like if you don't know what to do, then you're going to have these sample ads right here, and just depending on what product you're selling, just copy one. I mean, if you're really stuck. I mean, if you're just this one would be pretty straightforward to copy, right? Just change the picture and change the color of the font, and there you go. But we're gonna challenge you guys. We're gonna do a little contest with ads. This will be our first contest. And we don't necessarily want, like, when we say best, because we just had this whole conversation that sometimes it's the ugliest one or that. So just whatever you think is the one, like, oh, this is cool. It's got a really cool slogan, or it was a good use of an arrow, or a good use of where I put the money, or whatever you think. Pick your best one. There'll be in the contest tab, we'll put a form for uploading it. Please, I want to mention again, do not send submissions to support because we won't enter them in the contest. Okay. And myself, Aiden, Mark, Brent, we'll panel ourselves to find the top 20 ads, and each of the top 20 ads will win $200 in Facebook advertising from us. Okay, which will come in handy when you're going to be sending traffic and stuff. Okay. Right, so that'll be fun. I think it'll be great. And you always have these examples, and there's other examples that we're going to be giving you too. All right. So let's do an example from start to finish, okay? Because we've kind of gone through a lot of stuff here, and I guarantee you that not everybody got it the first time through, and so we want to find these 20 products, okay? And for each of the 20 products, we want to find at least 2 or 3 different initial target audiences. And for each of the 20 products, we want to build an ad. So let's say we went to Wayne Lowe. And by the way, somebody was asking about Wayne Lowe, like, what does it mean? It's, I forget, was it want, need, love, I guess? I can't remember. I think that's what it is. That's where the name comes from. So maybe we found one of these cool, we like this this leather bracelet here, this fish hook bracelet. We thought that might be pretty cool, okay? And so we said, you know what? Maybe I'm into fishing or whatever. I'm into jewelry, or this looks like something I might want to try. So I'm gonna take that as one of my ideas, and I'm gonna go over the product picker, and I'm gonna type in leather bracelet hook just to see if I can find something, that's like it or it exactly. And sure enough, I found something. Here it is. Okay. And it meets the criteria as far as feedback, rating, number of orders, and the seller feedback, which I don't have up here, but if you look at the detail, you can see it. And then we're going to do an ad. So here you go. Leather hook bracelet. There's 4 colors, only $7, very limited supply. So I've found the products, right? And I did it in the way of by going to the idea site and just roaming around, found a product, and I found that I could actually source it because I found that in my supplier database, and it met the criteria, which is important. And then I built an ad first. You probably do the audience first, but I built an ad first. Okay. And now we're going to go for trying to find two or three initial targeting audiences. So obviously fishing would be a good one. I'd actually like to ask the audience here, what else? Because this is kind of interesting, right? Like you wouldn't necessarily expect like, you know, a salty old fisherman to do that. But, you know, it's interesting. Remember those demographics before of a lot of women fishermen. Anybody have any idea of things that they might target in addition to fishing? As far as, you know, somebody who might be, the customer who might be interested in this bracelet? You just type it in I'm in the wrong spot. I'm in the question box, which is why I can't see anybody. Okay. Let's see. Outdoor women, like women who like outdoor stuff, and what would they like and that kind of thing. Survivorists, that's a good one. This is a good one. Pandora charms, children's jewelry, nautical jewelry. Good grief, these are really good. I'm going to hire all you guys. U.S. Navy people, you know, stuff that, I mean, that's a great one. Surfers, hipsters, I like that. Teenage girls, maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of really good. There's a good people into tattoos might also like this. I'm with you. I love it. So this is exactly. See, you guys are already good at this. Ravers, trendy teens, god fashion, high school girls. Yeah, all good. Love it. Just keep in mind, high school girls don't have. Well, I guess they all have credit cards now. Fishermen's girlfriends. Yeah, okay. I'll get that. Anyway, that's really good stuff. So, does everybody kind of get that? So this is what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, so that would be, so maybe fishing and, you know, people who are in the Navy or something. That might be a good one. Or fishing and women who like Pandora charm bracelets. You know, that might be a good target audience. And, you know, if you can't find the target audience or something like that, you can always just write it down, you know, because it's part of your whole, you know, customer avatar. Okay. So what we're trying to do here is, you know, we're trying to give you all of this information. It's kind of a big dump of information and a lot to digest at once. But, you know, we have a pace that we're going to try and keep for the people who want to keep that pace, okay? So we're going to get some feedback here and later on. And Brent and Mark are going to do a couple videos, an over the shoulder, and it'll be like this is where my joke fell flat with Brent and Mark, because I'm a big like Abbott and Costello guy. So it's like Abbott and Costello find a product, Abbott and Costello find an initial target audience, and then I said, and Abbott and Costello meet the mummy, because that was like a big movie back then, but nobody got it because I'm old. And anyway, so they won't be doing the mummy one, but they will do kind of an over-the-shoulder, like similar to what we've done here. But, you know, maybe you'll see them talking to each other, and it'll be a little bit easier, I think, to show that sort of iterative process on a video than it is to do it on slides in a training webinar. But what we want to do here, just to go back to the action items, and then we'll dive into questions and we'll review whatever we need to. You know, we want to make sure that everybody familiarizes themselves with the product picking component of the Command Center, which is available now. Okay, learn the criteria for choosing the product to test. Okay, so we're going to, one way to do it, you know, is to start with the idea sites, like we did with that fishing bracelet, the hook bracelet. You decide that's something that looks interesting. It looks like it's trending. It looks like it's selling. It looks like, yeah, okay, you see there's some demand for it. Then you go and see, can I source it? Go to the product database and look at the metrics on the product database. Does it meet the criteria? Okay, you got a slide that has just the criteria for that. And if it does, then it goes on your list. And you want 20 of those. And you want those 20 to be, hopefully, spread out across, you know, at least maybe 5 niches at least. And for each of those 20, you're going to find 2 to 3 initial audience targets, okay, that we will use for testing. And for those 20, you're also going to build 20 ads, 1 ad for each product. And you do not want to miss out on uploading what you think is your most interesting one. You think, you're the one that will catch our eye in the contest tab. And unfortunately, we cannot promise that we won't rip it off and use it for ourselves too. So I just wanted to warn you that, not the product, but if you come up with a really cool ad idea, we might all riff off each other. Come on, we have to do that. So, all right, what do we need to do? Show the criteria for product. Okay, I got to find that. There it is. I found it. Boom. There you go. And now, understand, I'm not saying this is where you should start, although you can. Okay. Some people would rather start with all the products they can source. So you can browse through 1.5 million products to your heart's content. That's perfectly acceptable. And you can make sure that they meet this criteria before you go and look for social proof that there's a market, there's a demand, there's some buzz, that kind of stuff on the sites that we showed you. Okay? What do we think? I think, let me ask you this, because I'm really curious, because it's so hard to judge. But out of those 3 things, finding 20 products, building an ad for each of the 20 products, and finding the audience, 2 to 3 initial target audiences, which is the hardest of those 3 things? You could just say product, ad, or audience. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Audience. Audience wins. Okay, that's good feedback. Kind of what I figured. It's the hardest thing to sort of teach, But the whole concept of the audience, the target audience, and by the way, you're not going to get it wrong, so it's okay. And you're going to have a chance to revisit it before you test these products, and that's okay. And we're going to give you more examples and more information. But, you want to start with the most common sense one. That's, I think, the best, the best thought. And Mark just said, the reason you can't get it wrong is that's why we test audiences. We test these things, and so you're always going to find ones that will work, and you'll find ones that won't work, and that's okay. So you just can't get it wrong. So it's all right. But my recommendation is to start with the most common sense, large audience you can think of. And that's usually pretty easy. I mean, that bracelet, you could have started with fishing, or you could have started with jewelry, or you could have started with, bracelet, or, leather jewelry. Any of those things are fine. And then what you want to do is just simply kind of combine it, with one of the other things that comes up when you're using that tool. And that's another thing, is just playing with the tool will help you start to understand how to targeting these audiences. Okay. So let's see. Maybe I should go to the questions here. We've got quite a few. Aiden, were there any that were, like burning ones we should get to at first, or should we just go?
I've actually just been pretty much watching the chat box, not specifically the ones in the questions tab. So, but I think we can just start working through them. Do you want to work through them? Do you want to start working through these right now, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we could put the action items back up, but let's just start taking questions, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay.
So go ahead.
No,
I can just start.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay,
you direct it.
So how long after the presentation ends does it take for the replay to be posted? That'll be really quick. I don't have an exact time, but it's usually by the next morning kind of thing. Will you create a secret Facebook page? It'll be a group that's locked down for sure. What about bonuses from affiliates? Do we get from them directly? Yes. I was in the product finder looking for a specific product that I would send to Amazon. The product finder doesn't ever send you to Amazon, so that's I don't quite understand that. If you could send us like a screenshot or something like that to support, that'd be awesome. Let's see. What about Stripe? Anything on that? Yeah, we'll be talking about that next session. So Stripe is just another payment processor. So like I said about PayPal, just stand down on all that stuff, and we'll get to that. So these are just thanks to our support folks, John and Jim Ali. I couldn't get logged in, and they sent me a total of 4 emails in 12 minutes, and I'm in. All good. Woohoo. Well, thanks, Michael, for that. That's awesome. Will we have a Facebook group? Yep. A Facebook group too. Yep, we talked about that. We're going to have one that when people achieve a certain level of kind of going through the material. So yes, definitely. Not sure what you mean. FYI, I got on by going back to the first email about the webinar, not the link in the email today.
The link in the email today was actually the link to the members area. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Jack is asking about, are there things we can start to implement? Yeah. These are the action items. This is what we need to do.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Bring up that slide again.
So the key things here are you're going to find 20 products. Okay, you have the information on how to find 20 products that you can source. All right, so you got to find it. So we need 20 products. I'd like to have them in at least 5 niches. I'd like to have you pick 2 to 3 initial audience populations to target for each of those, and get a feel for using that tool to start looking at the audience and building your audience, your customer avatar, okay? And you're also going to develop 20 ads, 1 for each product. And guys, this is stuff we're going to actually use, okay? This is not like pretend stuff. This is why I want to, maybe I need to make that very clear. I expect that some of these 20 products will be the ones that will make you a lot of money. And some of these ads will be the ones that will make you a lot of money. So this is like for reals. Maybe that wasn't clear. I don't know. So anyway, let's see.
Steve, one thing I think you may have forgotten to mention was that when you're using the product picker tool, you can actually save products to your save list by clicking the blue button on the right-hand side.
Good grief, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, let me pull it up. Sorry about it. Thank you, Aiden. That's a huge one because you'll want to save your 20 products in the product picker. Good grief. Just need to find the slide here that there it is. Oh, no, it's not it. Damn it. Sorry. There it is. That's huge, huge.
I
just want to follow up on that real quickly. In order to save it to your saved area, just click the blue icon, and it will save it to your list. Okay, and you can see that the save list is up here. You can always go back to it. So when you find a product that's one of your 20, and it's in the database, you absolutely want to hit that save button so that it's one of your 20 products. Thanks for that, Aiden. That's a biggie.
Yeah, no worries.
What was the question that you were just going to say,
Aiden? I've lost my train of thought now. Sorry.
Okay, of course.
Oh, well, the Design Master Plus, yes, that's what we use for the ads.
Yeah. Where do we find the command center? It's go to the members area, and you need to go to the software tab, and that's where it is. There you go. Who determines the sell price? You do, but you're getting ahead of yourself. Don't worry about it. Okay, I showed the product criteria. So in picking a product, we don't care about the price. Well, actually, I said to stay away from, to look for things that are generally sell for $50 or less. But we don't have to worry too much about, margins or anything like that right now because we really don't even know how much we're going to sell it for or how much we could sell it for or what our testing is going to show. What is the deadline for submitting the ads? Well, that's a really good question. And we'll have to put that up there on the I don't know the answer to that. We will come up with it. Are we selling only to the U.S.? We recommend that you start doing that, yes. How do I find the Facebook Finding Audience page? Yeah, let me pull that up. Right here. You click that little triangle, and you will see Manage Ads down there. And then you will go here. You'll want to click Audience Insights, and you want to click Everyone on Facebook, and then you're in. Okay. Can you talk a bit about the fact that we won't require inventory and how it's going to work? Yeah, let me pull up an example real quickly. Let's see. Just bear with me, sorry. Let me just pull it up. I want to pull up the product database again. Okay, so this product database has 1.5 million products, okay? Every single one of these products can be ordered one at a time without talking to anyone, right? You don't have to negotiate. You don't have to order up front or anything like that. So what's going to happen is somebody's going to place an order on your website for one of these, let's say for this automatic toothpaste dispenser. Somebody's going to place an order for that, and maybe you've priced it at $10.95. Okay? You're going to get $10.95 immediately. And then you're going to, actually, this is all going to happen automatically. But just to visualize it, you're going to then say to this supplier right here, hey, can you ship one of these out to Mary Smith, who just bought it from me? Here's $3.77. So I'm going to keep the difference between the $10.95 and $3.77, and the supplier will you will buy one for $3.77, and the supplier will ship it out to Mary Smith, wherever she is. Okay, is that clear? I think that. If you don't see, and this is good old Facebook, if you go to Facebook and you don't see Manage Ads in the drop-down, Mark, don't we have something in the FAQ about that?
Sorry, bud, I was on mute.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right. What was the topic? Question?
It is they don't see the Manage Ads, when they press the triangle. So what is the process? Isn't there a process in the FAQ?
Yeah, so they'll have to, it's really easy. They just have to kind of create an ad account in their personal account. And okay. Probably easier, I'll just make a quick video on that and throw it in the members area. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll make sure you get that. Keep in mind, we're not going to run ads necessarily. That's not what we're trying to do here right now, just yet. All we're doing is using the tool that comes with their ad platform for looking at an audience, okay? So don't get worried that we're going to start running ads yet, or we're using your personal Facebook to run ads, or you're using don't worry about any of that. You just want to be able to use the tool. And in order to use the tool, you have to get in there, okay? There's a question here, can we filter the database? Yeah, there's a bunch of different, you can. You could filter it so that you meet most of the criteria. And then only look at those. But I personally, my advice would be to not do that. And I mean, you can do whatever you like, but my advice would be to not do that because you give up sometimes the option of that lateral thinking, that ability to see a product that maybe you won't pick, but tells you, gives you some indication of another product that you might pick, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So you always want to keep your mind open. This is very much like a brainstorming kind of process. So, just keep that in mind. What else? Just looking at that list of questions. Aiden, have you seen anything else that we need to jump on?
We've got lots of different people just typing in comments, and we have been answering a lot of questions behind the scenes, obviously, as well. There are lots more questions coming in here, but not specifically perhaps related to a lot of the stuff, that we've specifically been trying to hammer here tonight.
Okay. Well, let's just review this real quickly, and then, we're just going to make sure that everybody is comfortable that they'll at least give this a try. I think everybody's got the picking the products. I think everybody's got that down. So, understanding that the product picker is, it's the front end to a big database of products, and you can browse around it at your leisure, or you can use that as the first step, or you can go to those other sites. But the whole idea is just to make sure that, in fact, there's some social buzz, there's some social proof of what's happening out there, and then you go to the database and make sure that that product is in there and you can source it, and it meets the criteria that we've listed here, and then it can go on your save list, and it could be one of your 20. So you're going to pick 20 products, and for each of those 20 products, you're going to create an ad. And you've seen a bunch of examples that you can use as inspiration, or heck, you could just copy, and that's okay too. All right? And then what sounds like the most difficult thing to grasp, which I understand, is for each of the products, building that avatar of your customer. Really thinking about, let me just pull up that slide, really thinking about what your customers, who is the potential buyer of this. And two people might do this exercise and come up with two completely different avatars, and they can both be 100% okay and right. Right? So just keep that in mind. And our job is to find, 2 to 3. If you can only find one, that's okay. But 2 to 3 initial audience targets, that you can go after for each of these 20 products. Right? And that is our action items.
Yep. And we're going to have more. We're going to have more. We're going to have more information, and we're going to address more of the common questions as well in the frequently asked question section as part of the summary sheet that we make for this training. So if you've got a question here that we haven't actually answered, then I think you'll probably get it in the summary sheet in the frequently asked questions section.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna, we'll make sure that you guys get it. It's, the beginning is it's always hard to start something, and sometimes some of these things, like with the audience thing, you just gotta dive in. Just give it a try, because seeing it, feeling it, touching it, it's not like you can break anything. You can't hurt anything. You're not gonna hurt yourself or Facebook or anything like that. Just give it a try. Just give it a try, because this is the path to go down. Yeah.
No, I've just got a question for everyone, and it's just it's not specifically related to a question. I just want to know, are you guys excited to be here? Are you guys fired up about this? Because we are about to embark on an 8 to 12-week journey. That's just for phase 1, when we're going to be building a money-making business. And we've spoken about this a lot, but this is without doubt the most predictable, most reliable, most replicable, I don't even know if that's a word, but most replicable system that we've ever. Replicatable? Is that a word? I don't know. But this is the most, without doubt for me, this is the hands down the best system that we've ever, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself here, that I've seen online since 2005, okay, since when I got started. Just because it's got, we spoke about this a lot, it's got all of the benefits of the things we love, but without the things we hate. We spoke about this a lot. If you watched our video, our sales video when we were talking about this, but it's got all of those things that we love without any of the things we hate, and there is no glass ceiling with this. So you could literally be, in a few months' time, or not even that, a few weeks' time, you could be at the point where you've got a $100,000 per year business. And I think that it's easy to forget that when we're diving down here into the details, just how exciting this is, and just how amazing and life-changing this can be for you. So anyway, I just wanted to recap on that, because we've been hammering home a lot of the, more of the sort of the boring, I guess, stuff here tonight about how to get started and all that. But I just wanted to hammer that home that, we're really excited about this. I know you guys are excited about it, and this is going to be absolute game changer for everyone here. So we're just so happy that you're a part of it.
I would agree, I'm sorry I'm the bringer of so we have to get started and actually do the stuff, the boring part. But it's not bad, and it's what do I always say to you guys? It beats digging ditches. It's pretty straightforward. It's actually a lot of fun. When you start to get into products and you start to think about selling those products, it's a lot of fun, I think. So I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that about wraps up the content here today, guys. So we're going to have an update email going out to members in the next few days at some point. We probably won't send one tomorrow. Well, we might send one for the replay. We'll think about that.
Yeah.
But we'll have the summary notes and everything in the members area shortly. So anyway, guys, thank you for tuning out here today. We know that it's a Friday night. But anyway, thanks for being here. We've got a lot more to cover in the coming weeks, and we're just diving in right now. So, Steve, anything else that we need to cover here? Otherwise, I think we can finish up here.
Nope, I think we can finish up. Brent just Skyped me and just said, hey, tell people to rewatch the webinar also to get more out of it. And I think that's a really good idea, because oftentimes when you see it the first time, it's like, I didn't get it. And then you've already sort of seen the bigger picture. So now you can go back and see the details, and it might, it'll jive a little bit better. So I agree. That's a good suggestion. So.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We're going to get this replay and the summary notes up just as fast as we can, probably in the next 12 hours. So watch out for that, and we'll be in touch again soon. Next week, we're going to be diving into the step 2 of the process and getting a little bit closer to that $274 per day, that $100,000 per year. So we'll talk again soon, guys.
Next week, by the way, next week you'll be building a site. So, because this is how we roll.
We've got some more surprises next week as well. Something very, very cool that I bet no one is expecting. So I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag. I want to tell you guys, but I'm just going to force myself to wait, because you're going to love what we've got for you. So anyway, we are going to wrap it up now. Thanks for hanging out with us here tonight, guys. Have a great weekend. Get started on the homework, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Take care. Cheers. Bye.